Hello and welcome everyone. It's the post-fight podcast. We're back. I'm back at home. There have been a bunch of coronavirus cases in Hong Kong, so I'm not in the office anymore. Back with the home studio. But what's not different is I've got my guys JHK and Chris here. Guys, what's going on? Chris, I'm going to go straight to you first because big news for us here in Hong Kong, wasn't it, this morning?
Yeah, I'm good. It's absolutely fantastic. They've moved the age down from 60 to get the virus down to 30. Thankfully, becoming 30 a few months ago, or as I like to call it, 29 plus 15 months. Yeah, pretty happy to get my jab booked in for 6 o'clock on Saturday. So just happy to get that and hopefully get it all done within the next 3 weeks. And yeah, wherever you are out there, try and get that vaccine, because the faster everyone gets vaccinated, the faster it all gets back to normal, the faster fighters can get back to sparring, the faster we can get to events, etc., etc. Life will be better for everyone.
Yeah, Chris and I live in an area called Saing Pun where every building around us is being quarantined and locked down, and it's getting really close, isn't it, Chris? So right on time for these vaccines. I've booked mine for 24th of March and the 14th of April. So I think Chris is going to beat me by a few days, but it's all good. Yeah, I can't wait to get back to normal life, like Chris said, but can't ignore JHK over there in the top right. John, how is everything with you, my good sir?
Everything's the same. Nothing's different. You know, I've been living my life the same since last March, and nothing has
Yeah, we're
changed.
rubbing it in, aren't we? Sorry, man.
Yeah, nothing has changed. I don't even know what the virus situation is in Korea at all. I'm just staying away from crowds as much as I can. I'll limit my contact with people and kind of just stay with my family most of the time. But for the people that are listening, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and share this, and put those questions in the comments. Give us your comments, give us your opinions on, you know, some of the topics. We have some good topics coming up, Nick. What's going on in the world? What is happening?
All right. Yeah. So we got all our vaccine stuff out of the way. What the reason we're here, because they dropped some bombshells as well in the UFC. That UFC 261 is going to be in front of a 15,000 crowd in Jacksonville, Florida at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. You remember that's where the UFC returned after 2 or 3 months off last year with Tony Ferguson against Justin Gaethje. They did a run of shows there. Dana White wanted to get to Texas, but it looked like Texas wasn't going to do it. But now Florida is opening up. Well, I don't think they've ever really cared too much about the coronavirus there, have they, guys? But yeah, it's going to be a full show. What can go wrong? Also Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal are going to headline it. The rematch there, and as Alan Bones Jones says in the comments here, super unnecessary rematch. We have headlining 261. Yes, guys, do you think we need to see this match? And why don't we start off the conversation there, guys? Why? It's obvious why the UFC is doing this fight, because they want to make a big splash. First show back, big crowd. So did they have to do Usman-Masvidal? Was there no other match they could have done that would have really headlined this card? I'll go to Chris first. Yeah.
That was a good stalemate, right?
Well, look, I think it is that thing, and I think it also comes down to maybe the Usman-Masvidal fight wouldn't have got pushed so hard if it wasn't Texas. I mean, we are going to Florida, particularly Miami, but all of Florida does have a strong connection with the Cuban population, Puerto Rican population. A lot of people them ways speaking Spanish. I don't know if it's the right fit. I think we already had a pretty good card looking forward to. I'm not sure if Masvidal totally deserves the rematch, in my honest opinion. Yeah, it just all seems a little bit of an oddity.
I want to take you guys back to the JRE podcast when Usman was on it, and I believe he just had become the champion, and he was talking about like what he wanted
no one
to
listens to it anymore now. It's on Spotify, John.
Well, I don't listen to it anymore, but when it was on YouTube and Stitcher, I used to listen to it all the time, especially when fighters were on. And he said that as a champion, he's going to go and try to make as much money as possible. And this is a money move. This is a money grab for Usman, because he knows that he could beat Masvidal. It doesn't matter, 10-week camp, 19-week camp, 2-week camp, 3 days. He knows. And he knows that this is the biggest money fight in the division. And right now, there's no clear number one contender. There's guys waiting to fight, but there's no clear number one contender in that division. Leon Edwards did not make a case last weekend, and you see what happened with that. And I feel like they were waiting for that fight to kind of transpire. And if Leon won, they would have probably gave him the title shot, but he kind of messed that whole situation up. So they're like, Jorge, you better keep training, be in camp, because we might give you the call. And I think they're also paying back Masvidal for stepping in on short notice too, on top of Usman wanting to make more money. And this is going to be big money right here. The headliner of a big pay-per-view card. It's what everybody wants as a fighter, as a champion. You want to make as much money because you don't know when you're going to lose that title. And once you lose it, it's going to be 10 times harder to get back there and win it again. So get that money, Usman. Get it while it's hot, man. I support it. I think, this is a good fight. I think I like this fight. Does Masvidal have a puncher's chance? Yes. But do I think Usman is going to kill him? Yes, at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, just my only qualms of it is I don't know if Masvidal's been in fight camp lately. I haven't been following him too much on social media. I hope he has. But 261, right? It's scheduled for April 24th. So that's about, 5.5 weeks away. And it's just like, doesn't Masvidal deserve 3 months preparation to fight Usman? I know he's getting a lot longer this time, and I hope he has been in fight camp. So if he has been, it's obviously not a problem. I assume he probably has. Dana's probably been speaking to him. They probably had this ready. You never know, but I just wish he got the full fight camp because I think what was it? He came out with 2 weeks last time, or was it 1 week last time? And then if he loses this time, is his excuse going to be, well, I only had a 5-week fight camp. Can you give me 8 weeks next time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Do we need to get Drake in here so we could smash him on his logic of Joe Soto deserves it? Drake.
Yeah, big rig.
Big rig. You're going to be little rig by next week. Come on. Keep it calm, man. Keep it calm.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah. The thing about it is they needed a massive fight to headline this card. I hate to say it, but Shevchenko, Andrade, Zhang, and Namajunas, they're not big enough fights to headline this. And especially the return of crowds, they needed something like this. And one thing about it is, I think Chris mentioned it earlier, Jorge Masvidal, Florida is his city.
Yeah.
It's his city. It's not city. It's his state. So everybody's going to flock to see Jorge. You know what I mean? There's going to be people from all over that area just buying tickets because it's going to be the first event back with a major crowd, 15,000. Imagine how much those tickets are going to cost. It's going to be crazy amounts of money, man. I think they're going to mark up these ticket prices. And you know how the UFC does it. Every week, every year, they make the pay-per-view prices a little bit higher too, So I see them making a lot of cash off this card. And Usman's going to make a lot of money. Masvidal's going to make a lot of money. And Masvidal, I know he's been in camp for the whole year. I guarantee you he's been in camp since January. He's been training hard, preparing for Usman because that's the only fight he was going to take. That's why he didn't sign to fight Colby. That's why. It's not like he's scared of Colby. He just didn't want to fight Colby because he has this coming up in the future. Why would you fight somebody else when you got something in the bank? What you got something in the oven cooking, that's going to make you millions of dollars. And the Colby fight, it's not a title fight. It's not. It's a fight night headliner. That's what it is. And you think Usman's going to step back and do a fight night headliner? Nah, he's not going to. Or not Usman. Masvidal? No, he's not going to do that. He wants the big fight. And I agree. I agree that they put this fight together for a reason. And I like it. And a lot of people might not like it. But hey, the UFC does things that you don't like all the time. And sometimes you just got to look at it in the positive light. And I look at it in a positive light for Usman, man. I support him making lots of money for his family while he's the champion. And I thought Gilbert Burns had the best chance to beat Usman stylistically. And I don't feel like anybody else can beat him. I feel like Usman's just going to keep fighting. I think he's going to be a very active champion. Look at him. He's making a 2-3 month turnaround. That's very rare in the UFC, right? Usually champions are fighting at the most 2 times a year. Right? 2 or 3 times a year. So Usman is going to make that cash, man. It's all about money. And a lot of people don't like it, but hey, it's the truth.
All right. Let me get through a few comments quickly here from the chat. Just want to get these out. WMMA scene now. Hello. What's up? Saying Usman-Masvidal II just means I can leave the bar an hour early, saving money there. I found it positive. Jimmy saying, how happy is John now that Wei Lee isn't headlining? Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Why would I be happy?
I don't know. I thought there was some beef there you had with Wei Lee.
Why do I have beef with Wei Lee?
Jimmy, fill us in the chat there.
Yeah, Jimmy, I don't understand that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's get into that. Why don't we do that now? Yeah, Wei Lee Zhang and Rose Namajunas. That was going to be the headliner. They announced it last week, guys, but then that has now been bumped again, and the event has been bumped to Jacksonville from Vegas, right?
Yeah, I don't think Wei Lee was the headliner anyways. It was Shevchenko. Yeah,
it was.
And Andrade.
Yeah, they put it. Well, they announced it. It was on their website. That was the headliner.
Oh, really? So they were having the lighter weight fighters headline the card? Oh, that was interesting.
So they've now changed the main event of the show 3 times, and they've moved it to Florida. They've moved state. A lot of change.
Hey Nick, we still got a little bit over a month until these fights actually happen. We don't know what's gonna happen in that time, right? This card could be moved to Texas. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, this is I wanted to get to this comment from Ghost Phantom 98 earlier in the show. I was just saving it as a good question. There's no performance institute in Jacksonville, so how do the fighters cut weight there? Yeah, John, how's this going to impact all of the preparations? Why don't we start with Chris, actually? Yeah, what's the situation here? Are fighters going to prepare in Vegas, then fly out, or they've got to do COVID tests? Do we know the practicalities and the restrictions they're going to have to go through?
I don't totally know all the rules, and I guess this is one of the problems that you do have with America is that it will generally done by state by state and by commission. It would probably come down to, I guess, the governor who would be putting the rules in place in terms of how they're going to do it, whether they enter the bubble in Vegas and then are transported within that bubble straight out to Jacksonville and remain in the bubble, or whether they go to Jacksonville ahead and then enter the bubble. I don't think any of that has really been put forward at all. But for sure, man, the UFC have the money, they have the resources. I mean, the Performance Institute is fantastic, but I mean, at the end of the day, it is just a gym with some very, very specialist equipment, which I'm sure they can probably move some of it down. They don't need it all, but I don't really think it's a big issue.
It's not a big issue. Fighters been cutting weight on the regional scene in a park bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, have you heard the stories of fighters cutting weight in China? They're like in the middle of the desert. You know what I mean? It's like fighters, if they want to fight, they want to make weight, they're going to make weight no matter what they have. You know what I mean? Of course, they're going to have the same facilities that they have. You know, I don't even think most fighters even go to the PI to cut weight. They cut weight in the hotel. So it's no different. They're going to have the rooms. They're going to have the little sauna that they zip up. It looks like a little one of those, you know, those sumo suits, right? And then they heat themselves up in that. I don't think it's such a big deal. They got professionals to do everything with them to cut weight. And going back to what they what is it? What was his name? He was calling me out about the Wei Lee thing.
Yeah. Jimmy says you literally been saying she shouldn't be headlining, and Alan said
Alan is right.
Big enough to start a headliner pay-per-view.
Alan is right. I remember saying that. I remember saying that Wei Lee is not a big enough star to headline a pay-per-view, and I'm saying that right now, and it's true because look what they're doing. So what am I saying wrong? Do I not want her to headline? No, it's not like I don't want her to headline. Of course, she's Asian. Why would I not support my Asian people? Why would I not support my Asian people, man? Like, come on. But I'm telling you, she's not a big enough star to headline a pay-per-view. Just like Demetrius Johnson wasn't a big enough star to headline a pay-per-view. It's the same thing. Will she become a star eventually? Most likely. But will she become a worldwide phenomenon like some of the stars that we have now? No, she's not. I don't believe that's going to happen. You know, in China, yes. In China, yes. She could become just the massive, massive superstar. But maybe she is already. I don't know. I don't live in China. But worldwide, most people don't know who she is. I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah. And can I also just add one thing as well that you do have to remember is Amanda Nunes is just like a much, much, much bigger name. And even look at the last pay-per-view she was on. She didn't even headline it. Do you know what I mean? And Zhang Weili, I mean, she is big in China. She's fairly big in Asia. But, like, on the fame, she's a few rungs down the ladder from Amanda Nunes. And Amanda Nunes couldn't even do her last event. I mean, even you go back last summer, I mean, Max Holloway is a much bigger name than Zhang Weili, and he doesn't generally headline events. He's usually on the co-main, so does put it a little bit into perspective.
It is. You
But,
do put it into
yeah.
perspective.
I'm
Go
just
ahead,
saying, for a week or so, that Weili was set to headline a pay-per-view. So
If
Yeah, I
it
don't.
was, if it
maybe
wasn't,
they.
maybe she would have. That's maybe the one thing that could have got her the headline spot. But even then, I'm not even sure if she would have headlined out in Asia. I think they would have liked her with like a big heavyweight as well, you know. But, like over here, they do like a heavyweight.
Where's Drake?
What?
Isn't he gonna come in?
Not sure. Drake, you
Drake,
jump
shoot
in
us
if
a
you want.
thumbs up in the message, and then we'll shoot you something. Anyways,
Yeah.
going back to what you guys were saying about Weili headlining, I would love to see her headline. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't want to see her headline, but it doesn't make any sense, like for the UFC to have her headline a pay-per-view. She was fighting for a title on a fight night card. Come on, you know what I mean? Do you think 2 fights makes her into this international star? It took Izzy many fights, a lot of fights to become who he is, right? So it's, it is what it is. It's just they're not looking at her as like this international star that's going to headline a pay-per-view on American soil. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see that happening. And I see Shevchenko being a better headliner versus Andrade. That's why I thought it was the headliner. I just being honest. They're both great fights, but I thought Shevchenko is just more exciting, just more known, and just has more star power than Weili.
Do you think it was kind of a bit of a bad move by the UFC from a promoter's sense? It wasn't all their fault as well. We have the pandemic and other issues with Zhang being stuck in China. But, I mean, she'd be a much bigger star if we could have got her to fight much closer, because that fight last year was fantastic, and I do feel like it did raise her up. And then, like, we've had these great performances by all these other fighters, Volkanovski, Nunes, Shevchenko, etc., Figueiredo, the emergence of him, and they've kind of pushed Zhang Weili further back into the back of people's heads. It's really just a shame that she wasn't able to fight once or twice more in the time being, because, it would have got her a few rungs up on that ladder, maybe, being as big as at least a Figueiredo or a Shevchenko, and then from there you start looking at the top echelons.
Yeah. Well, I was happy, to be honest with you, to have Shevchenko, Andrade, and Weili and Rose, like at the top of this card without Masvidal and Usman. I was happy with that pay-per-view. I thought that pay-per-view was a good, solid pay-per-view, because if you look at the other fights, Weidman, Hall, you got Crute and Smith. That's a solid pay-per-view right there, man. And they could have added another fight if they really wanted to, but in their eyes, I believe that they were like, oh, we need to put something big in there, in the headliner, because we're gonna have a crowd. Without the crowd, I still think they would have pushed forward without Usman and Masvidal, but they had the crowd, the venue in Florida, and Usman Masvidal just made sense, and they're pushing for that. So it is what it is. You never know, right? You never know what's gonna happen with this card too. 3 title fights. When do they ever they all happen? You know what I mean? Except for the last one that they put together, that actually went through all 3 title fights.
What about this? Some comments here. This is a good point from Alan. Why did Figueiredo and Perez headline 255 when they weren't big names either? I would argue Weili is a bigger star than Figgy and Perez, especially before the back-to-back Figgy pay-per-views.
Can I interject with this one, please? Bone Show. That was never planned. That's why Dana White showed up giving Figgy big bags of cash or gifts or Rolexes or something, but and that was saying, because he was saying to Figgy, coming back 5 weeks after a title fight, 4 weeks, because he was saving the show. The show wasn't going ahead without him. It wasn't like they planned 6 months ahead for this show. This show was saved by Figueiredo. He was doing the UFC a favor. It was never their intention for him versus Perez to be the main event, right?
Yeah, and also I believe that it was at the end of the year, right, where they already met their quota for pay-per-views and events, so they were like, okay, we got to put something in the headliner, and I feel like that's why they used Figueiredo to slide in there and do it. You know what I mean? And he gets paid too at the same time. Why not? But yeah,
and also, sorry, I just checked. It was Cody. He was supposed to fight Cody Garbrandt as well, and him versus Cody Garbrandt. Cody's a big star. People have to remember Cody is a big star.
Yeah, but I don't think he's like that big of a star. But
No,
he is
no.
he is a bigger star than Figueiredo. I agree with that. I
He's
agree
big
with that.
and Perez and probably Shevchenko.
Yeah, he's probably more known. I don't know. Internationally, Shevchenko is probably more known, but in the stateside, Cody Garbrandt is probably up there, I guess, with Shevchenko in followers and notoriety and stuff like that. But yeah, I wish they would, I wish they would push Weili a little bit more. But they, like Chris said, they did make a mistake of just waiting so long to put her back into that octagon. It's been like a year, right? It's been over a year, and it's just ridiculous. And it could be that Weili had some complications in her camps and stuff, or maybe she got injured. We don't know because she doesn't really do interviews. We don't really get updates on her, so we have no idea what's going on. But what we know now is that she's gonna fight at 261, and she's gonna fight probably her toughest test so far in Rose Namajunas, which is exciting. I love this fight.
And if both of them win, Weili and Shevchenko, guys, I think there was a question earlier. Do you book that fight together? And is that the fight to do? I think it was Alan Bones Jones asking it. Yeah, here you go. Let's just throw it forward a little bit. Would you do that, Chris? If Zhang Weili and Shevchenko both win at 261?
I don't know. I'd actually rather just see Zhang kind of clear up the division a little bit more. She's got the one advantage that the other three women's weight classes don't have, where she actually has a competitive weight class. She doesn't have to keep going after she wins 2 or 3 fights. She shouldn't have to be thinking about becoming a champ just yet, because she does have a fantastic division around her. That, if she really does clear out this division, she's already beat Joanna. She's beat Andrade. If she gets Rose, she's well and truly on her way to clearing out the division and then cementing herself arguably as the greatest women's strawweight of all time. I mean, you've got Xiaonan just outside that, maybe Carla Esparza, and then if you can get those two, fair to say you probably clean out the division and then go for the champ personally.
Yeah,
John,
when you look at like fighters that go up in weight and fight for the title, like let's say Israel Adesanya, he fought Jan Blachowicz after how many title defenses? Was it 2? Mm-hmm. 2 title defenses, right? Yep. But that situation is different from Weili's situation. Israel is a massive star, right? So, he could go up and it's no problem for the UFC to push that, right? But I feel Weili, it's better for her to defend the title a couple more times and build her profile and then move up and fight Shevchenko. I want to see Shevchenko move up and fight Amanda Nunes a 3rd time. This is the fight that I want to see personally. I think that fight makes sense. Shevchenko is just like ruling the division, and if she goes out there and crushes Andrade, like smashes her, like, and I hope one or the other. Like, I hope Andrade like smashes Shevchenko or Shevchenko smashes Andrade. I want to see either one. You know what I mean? I don't want to see like this pitter patter fight for 5 rounds, and I don't think Andrade will play that game. So we're gonna see some action. But yeah, if Shevchenko gets past Andrade, I feel like Shevchenko has done enough to move up and do the trilogy with Amanda Nunes. That's the fight I want to see.
Okay, let's have a little look at the comments here, guys. Any more? There you go. WMMAC now. Last time they let Shevchenko headline the fight was a stinker, and they got booed. Yes, I remember that.
Who was that? Chukagian?
I think so. Yeah. I feel like Weili, for all that we're saying, I think Weili could headline, but it would be something like Chris was saying, where it's a backup plan and this and that. They'd never, unless it was Asia, like some of the guys in the comments that Jimmy is saying, they did want to make Weili a headline in Asia, I think. But look, we'll see if she goes and fucks up Rose and then gets a huge KO and she becomes a star. They could go to her for a main event sometime down the line. I wouldn't rule it out. But we should go ahead. Sorry, Chris.
Beat Rose, it would probably raise her stardom. Rose is super popular, at least within the MMA community. She is super popular. Everyone loves Thug Rose. If she were to beat her, then the thing that the UFC has got, then they've got a fantastic thing where you've got, after Rose and Joanna in the rankings, it's Yan Xiaonan, so they can do an all Chinese title fight, and then it's kind of a win-win situation with the UFC because the next fight's going to have a Chinese person in, so you get to crack the market a little bit more. And if it's a good fight, you can always run it back, and maybe by the time you get to running it back, you can do it in Shanghai in a big soccer stadium or something like that and get 80,000 people. You never know.
Yeah, Chris, they will definitely be coming back to China. They've just signed that new deal with Migu, haven't they? It's inevitable, and of course, Weili will be the one they want to push for that. It was Shevchenko v. Carmouche, apparently the one that got booed, and a couple other comments. Ghost Phantom saying it would be a weird rematch if Weili and Andrade win against Shevchenko on the off chance that happens. Yeah, would you want to see Zhang Weili against Andrade again? If we're doing the champ thing, is that? I'm not sure. Like, I think I agree with Chris, John.
That would be an interesting scenario, right? That Weili knocked out Andrade. Andrade moves up to 125. Takes out Shevchenko, who had like this unbeatable mystique around her. And if I see Andrade winning this fight, I see her knocking out Shevchenko, right? It might be something crazy to say, but Andrade has crazy sick power, right? So we know that. We've seen it happen. And if she becomes champion, if I'm Weili, I'm going after Andrade. I'm going after her because I knocked her out, right? I'm going after. I'm turning up that little trash talk a little bit, right? Because you hold the marbles now. You're the champ at 115, the 125 champ. You knocked her out to get the title. You want to go up there and make some money, right? That would be a headliner for a pay-per-view right there. I could see that.
Okay, and what about this? Another interesting comment from Alan. If Rose loses to Weili, should she have a trilogy with Joanna Jędrzejczyk? I would like that the most, to headline a pay-per-view in Poland. Yeah, I'd like that fight, but I don't think it would headline a pay-per-view, especially if there's no trilogy, right? Sorry, if there's no title on the line, it would have to be a fight night in Poland or something.
Yeah, Joanna Rose doesn't make sense. I feel like Joanna Rose has just got Joanna's number. I think she won both fights super, super clearly. The one I'd actually rather see, and I think we were robbed of it back on Fight Island, was Rose versus Andrade, because both of those fights were fairly good. I mean, obviously Andrade won with the slam in the first one, but then, I mean, that second fight, because we were robbed really of a 5-round fight, which is what it should have been. I think I gave the first 2 rounds to Rose 10-9, and I gave the last round to Andrade 10-8. And you actually watch that fight again, and if you were to watch it and you think if they had the 4th and 5th round, I don't see any way that Rose would have ever been able to have won that. And obviously, you leave a lot more out there when you're fighting 3 rounds. It's a sprint rather than a marathon. But Andrade had done so much more damage to Rose in that fight. Like, if they had to do a tiebreaker round right then and there, it would be Andrade all the way, I believe.
Well, if it was Pride rules judging, then I feel Andrade would have won that fight, right? But it's not Pride rules judging. It is the unified rules of judging, I believe. And and Rose won the fight, and that's why she got the title shot. There's a lot up. I think there's a lot at stake in these 2 matchups with these 4 women that that we have to really see who wins to figure out, okay, this is the moving pieces. Because when you look at the 125 division, who do you see as like the clear next contender? Lauren Murphy's there, right? She's been screaming. She has a good win streak, and she has some finishes. So that could be a possibility. But does the UFC want Lauren Murphy to fight for the title? It doesn't seem like they do, you know what I mean? Because they passed her up for Jessica Andrade. And then when you look at 115, Weili has a bunch, even if Rose becomes a champ, she has a bunch of contenders, right, lined up to fight her, especially like, what is it? Esparza's there, and who beat Rose? Esparza. Yeah. Esparza beat Rose, so Rose gets the title. Esparza beats Jan, then I feel Esparza is going to get that title shot, man. And the guy that manages all 3 of these women, it's like, man, he has a good problem right there, right?
Yeah, very good problem. Why don't we have a little look at the whole card? Because I think someone was asking about that earlier in the comments, whether some of those other fights were still on it. So, yeah, let's have a quick look at 261, what's already there. It's pretty stacked, I think you can say, guys, isn't it? There we go. So some of these other fights are still on it. Anthony Smith and Jimmy Crute. is still there. Chris Weidman, Uriah Hall,
Stacked like
Valentino.
Pringles right there, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think Whaley and Rosa will be the opener of the main card. I think it'll be higher up. I don't know if these are in order yet.
Yo, Asia is representing on this card, you know, and this card is not even filled in yet. We could have more, but look at it. You got 3 Chinese fighters, 1 Mongolian fighter. You got a Filipino fighter. That's like what? That's 5 right there. And I'm thinking they're gonna add someone else. I think they're gonna add a couple more Asians.
Is it Dinar Batgarel?
Yep.
We've got 2 of the China Academy people debuting. The Mongolian
Murderer. I interviewed him. Go check that out on the channel.
Yeah, and Dragon Girl Na Liang, Aori Chileng. Yeah, go check out John's interview with the Mongolian Murderer.
I have heard out there on the grapevine that apparently there's going to be 5 Chinese fighters on this card. That's what I've been hearing. The number 5 is what I've been hearing from a lot of people. So we've got 3, so there might be 2 more announced. And we'll see who it is.
Well, hey, let me put this out there. Will Ramona be on this card? Will she make her UFC debut on this card? She's out in Vegas. She's training. She's getting ready. I don't know. I think it could be a possibility. I haven't heard anything. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying,
if Ramona,
all fingers point to Ramona getting a shot in the UFC, making her debut
on this card. It would be amazing. And as well, Ramona, they've got someone very special. And as well, the fact is, you've got someone who's fluent in like 4 languages, which is just, you know, fantastic for the UFC because she can communicate everything perfectly in all 4 of those languages, which, you know, it is an asset, isn't it? Because, you know, they have had that issue. Some of the Chinese fighters, some of the Asian fighters having to train them in English and vice versa. So, and she is outspoken. She's pretty social media savvy. So, yeah, good luck to her.
Yeah.
Zaza Kita asking, who's Ramona? This is Ramona Pascual, who is a Hong Kong fighter. She's just flown to Vegas. She's moved her life over there. A la Sasha Palatnikov, the first Hong Kong male MMA fighter in the UFC. She signed with Paradigm, you know, Conor McGregor's management company, Audi-Atar. So clearly some big things. She was training out of the UFC Shanghai Performance Institute. She graduated from the China Academy there, the first class. So she was going to be on Dana White's Contender Series Asia, but the whole pandemic thing has kind of messed up that. So she's just taking a chance. But I think she's gone there knowing there are some things in the pipeline, and all signs point to a debut in the UFC soon. Hope to see it. Yeah, as Chris says, she's really awesome. I met her a few times, and she's got her head really screwed on, and she can fight as well. She's
and she's not young. People. Let's just be real. She's not young. She needs to get in there and start fighting in the UFC. Like they've built her up. They've you know elevated her skill set at the PI in Shanghai. I think she's prime, especially she's signed with Paradigm, and Paradigm has their hands all in the cookie jar at the UFC, right? So they're gonna slide her in. Let's see her get on this card. I'm pushing for it. I support it, and we'll talk to her when she officially makes the announcement. If she does, maybe she'll make it before then. Maybe she'll slide in on short notice on a different card. Who knows? But I think she'll be in the UFC by the end of the year. Do you guys think so? Lee Kaiwen?
So. Oh, Lee Kaiwen. I can tell you what's going on with Lee Kaiwen a little bit. He's going to be at the China Academy. He's in the combine right now, so he's going to have to go through the academy, I think, which is slightly weird.
It's all good. It's all good, man. And who's the other guy from Hong Kong? I've interviewed him before. He's at the combine too right now. The one that was that used to train with Alberto Mina at the hybrid with Sasha too. Do you guys know who he is?
Yeah.
He fought for just
Max Leali, is it?
Huh?
I only know Max Leali here.
No,
but,
not Max. He's Hong Kong native. He looks like me. he looks Asian. He's Asian, right? Max sounds like a white person's name. Am I right?
He is a white person, yes.
Okay.
But in Hong Kong, we don't judge by race. We all no, okay. I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he signed up a couple years ago.
His name is Andy.
Andy something.
He's at the combine too with Lee
Okay,
Kaiwen.
that's good.
Okay, so
Sweet.
that's good.
Yeah, Hong Kong represent. That's good. A few other things here. Alan asking, what about Li Jingliang added to the 261 card against Jeff Neal? Would you like that, guys?
Yeah, I'd absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I love the Leech. The more he fights, the better it is. And we do need that like Chinese guy to start knocking on the door, really. And I feel like it is Leech at the moment, because the women are absolutely flying. But I think to truly get that full time acceptance, like they've got good women, they know now. I think they just need one to get in.
Not Andy Wang. Not Andy Wang.
I think I remember the name. I'm just trying to get it out of my brain. But
yeah, he's a homegrown talent from Hong Kong. You know, if he gets into the academy, he's a young kid too. I think that they'll develop him into a decent fighter there, and he'll probably end up in the UFC.
yeah, there was a bit of hype about him here. I remember. I think he signed with an agency, and they were touting him around. I can't remember who he signed with, but anyway, let's go on. Some questions here, some comments. Why don't we do this quickly? What's next for Manel Cape? Yeah, you wanna take that, guys, quickly?
Oh man.
You know what? When I first started going to Japan to watch Ryzen back in the day, I watched Manel Cape. I watched him in the Grand Prix. Fantastic fighter. He has disappointed me so much coming over to the UFC because, you know, the one thing is when you expect someone to go and perform and you've seen them perform so good, you know, his win over Kaya Sakura is split decision loss against Kaya Sakura, who's one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. And just he's looked so flat in all his fights. He hasn't left everything in the cage. I don't think he's in any of his fights done anything. And then the thing that's really, really disappointing is like how at the end of both his fights he kind of thinks he's won them, and he hasn't really broken a sweat. And it's like, you know, you're in the UFC now. I just want to see you leave everything out there because he's got the skill set to do it. He's one of my favorite fighters, and it just shows you, you know, you got two guys who are at the very top of rising in Yuri and Manel. Manel just hasn't quite clicked, but he's come very close and been super competitive in his fights. While for someone like Yuri, it has just clicked.
Okay. There's a key to saying unlucky from now. I think he won his last fight. Oh well, it's been a disappointing run in the UFC. Alan thinks if he's lucky, he gets one more fight, but wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut. Manel, Cape, and Kai Kara France. Would you like to see that, John?
That's not going to happen. Kai's ranked number 7 in the world. Manel's not going to get a ranked guy in his next fight. Manel needs a tune-up fight, man. He could compete with the top 15. It's just that I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like he's just not himself in that cage. Maybe he's been too used to fighting in the ring. I don't know, but well, you know, with his back against the wall, I don't think he's going to get cut. I think he's going to get one more fight. With his back against the wall, we might see the real version of Manel. You know, the one that shows urgency, the one that's going to go out there and throw flames. You know, we might see that. I don't know, but it's like Chris said, you know, I've been watching him for a while. You know, I've met him, been around him, interviewed him many times, and we've seen him grow up and rising, and he's a good talent, and he's still really young too. It's not like he's old, so we just got to give him some time, I guess, to kind of get used to the UFC. I don't know.
Let's just add, he's got 2 losses. One of them was against Pantoja, who I think right now is ranked like number 3 or number 4. So it's not like he's gone in and started with unranked opponents. He's gone in, and obviously the UFC think very, very highly of him. And he's gone right in and he's fought a guy who's ranked number 3 or number 4. It's very rare you see someone come into the UFC and do that anyway. And I think it was a 2 rounds to 1 decision, but it was definitely competitive.
Yeah.
Okay. Manel Cape has no confidence, says Azakita. I guess the brand name has shaken his confidence.
Maybe. We don't know. We're not in his head.
I'm not sure. I think something's just, not clicked, but he'll be back. He's too good.
It was a good decision as well. Like, you know, I know a few people who did score that 2 rounds to 1 to Manel. So
a lot of people did.
A lot of people did, yeah. I think Manel's unlucky. To be honest, he should be 1-1 in the UFC, and we wouldn't be talking about this now, would we? So
yeah. So
we haven't seen, even in that last fight, we didn't see that killer that we're used to seeing. You know, that goes in there and is throwing just heat He gets those like little sprints of it, but we haven't seen it like he does in Ryzen. And I don't know what it is. I'm gonna.
Maybe it's because he isn't wearing the wrestling shoes. Because I always remember, I think it was Ryzen 20 when he beat Kaya Sakura, and I was there, and he came out and he wore wrestling shoes for the fight on the basis that he couldn't kick. So maybe he needs to get his wrestling shoes back on.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
No.
Zazakita also saying Horiguchi is the only Ryzen fighter who's been decent in the UFC. LOL. You agree with that, guys?
I mean, we just talked about Yuri. Did pretty well fighting out of their weight class. There's been quite a few fighters from Ryzen, I think, who've come over.
Rosenstrike was in Ryzen too. People forget about that. He's a top 5 heavyweight in the world right now.
Not Chrome Gracie as well. He's done.
Yeah, Chrome Gracie was there. Yeah.
One loss at the moment. Chrome did pretty well in Ryzen. There's been a few. I mean, you can technically say, well, no.
Okay. Lee Meldrum pointing out that Shevchenko and Ajaj's scheduled second fight with Zhang Namajunas is the third fight per ESPN. So maybe Weili wasn't going to headline. I was just basing that off on their website. It was top of the card, and it blew up on Reddit. Everyone was talking about it. Gordon Morris here saying if Rose and Jessica win, schedules are synced for a rematch. Same if Zhang and Shevchenko win for their match, or if Zhang and Jessica win. But if Rose and Valentina win, no intertitle match. Yeah, a lot of things at play there. What do we want to go on to?
At the end of the day, I don't really like the intertitle matches. I'm not really that big of a fan of it. And the reason why is because it screws over all the other fighters, all the other contenders in the divisions, and just prolongs their rise to the top. Whoever's going to rise to the top and compete for the title. It's sexy and you can sell it and people eat it up. But I feel like if you do like champion versus champion, they should fight at a catch weight, and fight like that. It's going to make as much money. I feel. I don't feel like you need to have a title on the line. It's the people, it's the fighters that sell the fights. It's not really the title, to be honest with you.
Yeah, my thing with champion versus champion is it only really makes sense, I think, if it adds to the divisions. So, like when Henry Cejudo became champ, that was good because he saved the 125. With even DC and Stipe, it did hold up the heavyweight division a bit, but it gave them 3 huge pay-per-view events starring heavyweights. It allowed Daniel Cormier to move up and get a belt, and allowed John Jones to come back in and get a belt. So sometimes the champ does work, and I understand why people want it with Shevchenko and Nunes, and that's because they have no one else. So while Shevchenko would be the winner to fight the strawweight champion, the big loser would actually be the strawweight division if we did have a champ fight, because it's the best women's division we have. It's the best women's division we've ever had in the UFC, in my opinion. And that's on. I'm 50-50 where John is. I think sometimes you need the champ, but I think we get it a little bit too often. They should be coming around once every 2 years, roughly. Not once.
You know what they should do? This is my solution to the champ thing. Instead of moving up in weight and challenging for that title, and if you do move up in weight and you win the title, I feel like you should vacate your other title and just continue at the higher weight class. Like I believe, who was saying that in the comments? Was it I don't know who it was. Someone was saying that in the comments. Or even better is like you meet at a catch weight between in the middle, and you just make a new belt. You know what I mean? Like boxing does it all the time. They make these like special belts, right? So why don't you make a special belt? If there needs to be a title on the line, just make a special belt. Like I don't even know what to call it. Like how they made the BMF belt. Make the CMF belt and the TMF belt and the TNT belt and the CBS belt and the ESPN belt. Like just make all kinds of belts, right? And then it's just like something special that the champ, whoever wins, can take home. You know what I mean? And you're not stalling up anything. You know what I mean? Because after that fight, the champions can go back to their weight classes and go defend their titles, right? I don't know why they keep doing this. It's just it's for money, I believe. So, I guess it makes sense for them because it's cash.
I'd love every whenever they have a champ fight, 2 division championship fight, I think both other divisions should have an interim title. I know why the UFC don't do it, because they don't want to give out them pay-per-view points and they don't want to pay someone more for becoming a champion. So that's pretty much what it comes down to. But like, I think Glover should have fought for an interim title at least. I think if the fighters are changing divisions or fighting a champ, I think it should always be the number one contender should be offered an interim, or they should wait. That's
speaking of champs that didn't defend their belts, we have to point to Conor McGregor, right? He's like the number one criminal for that. And you know what, McGregor, you know how big he has become? Like, I forgot how big he is, because of course he's big in the sport, but I'm saying outside of the sport. I was watching Coming to America, the new one, and they mentioned Conor McGregor in that movie. Did you watch Coming to America, the new one? Have you guys seen it?
I've only
seen they did a new one, man. Sorry.
No. Oh, you didn't know? Well, they have a new one. It sucks. Don't watch it. But I'm saying, like, I watched half of it and I turned it off. But they were in the barbershop and they're talking about boxing, because in the original one, in the barbershop, they're talking about who's the best boxer, Cassius Clay, blah, 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 right? And then in that movie, they mentioned Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather. And I was just like, man, Conor has become, he is the biggest star in the history of this sport, man. Like, nobody has done that, to be mentioned like that in movies, like nonchalantly.
Yeah, agreed. I'll just do some comments here on the topic. What are we talking about here? Eddie DeBlasian saying, if you move up in weight, you should stay there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Eddie.
Yeah,
good job, Eddie.
Good job, Eddie. WMAC now saying John is right about 2-weight champions. Also, the UFC overdid them. They got stale. Lee Meldrum here saying, I agree. Pick a weight class, stay and earn a title shot only. A lot of people agreeing with you guys here in the comments, which doesn't always happen. So, yeah, we must be on point today.
You know what? Most of the things that we talk about doesn't happen. So that's it's normal.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see strawweight bottleneck while the champ, who only has 2 fights in 1.5 years, fights in a different division. So as Akita, once McGregor did it, it became normalized, and now every champ wants to do it. Alan pointing out Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson wanted that when TJ wanted to fight him when the Cody rematch was postponed. Champ. It's not my cup of tea, guys. Not my cup of tea. Anyway, why don't we move to another topic? We had a few others we wanted to talk about, so why don't we get those out of the way before we just get into more questions again? John wanted to do Colby Covington and Polyana Viana and their
Can we play that clip on Twitter? They have a clip of the interview.
Is this from Submission Radio?
Yeah, it's from Submission Radio, but it's like someone has a clip of it.
Okay, I'll try and find it, but why don't you just fill everyone in while I search for it on the situation.
Speaking of the welterweight division, right? The 261 is going to be headlined by the welterweight division, and right now it's just like chaos at the top, with Leon. Chris, what did you think of the whole Leon Edwards situation, man? It's just a bad situation, right? For both Muhammad and Leon. It just sucks.
It's a tough situation. It absolutely sucks for Leon. My heart goes out to him because, you know what? Like, I have friends out there who hate Leon. I have friends out there who love Leon. But no matter what, you have to say, this guy's gone through the worst luck, He could have fought Woodley. The people who fought Woodley, it's really pumped them up, and they've got title fights off the back of it. He's been unable to fight. He's got COVID. He's had problems coming over, and then it ends with an eye poke. He could arguably go down as the unluckiest fighter of 2020, and he's probably ranked number one in the luckiest fighter of 2021 for sure. And then you've got to think, I just hope he stays in Vegas at the moment. I hope he stays in North America, finds somewhere out there to train. 5-6 years ago, he was out with AKA for 9 months, so hopefully he can hook up with some of those guys, hopefully. I think either, if you don't want to fight Bilal, try and fight as soon as possible in the next 6 weeks. And you know what? I don't think you're going to get any of those top guys. But if I was him, I think Maya, I think everyone, Wonderboy is really the one. I think Wonderboy or Michael Chiesa would be absolutely perfect. They're both fairly good names as well, probably bigger names than Leon. And they both boost him because, look, if he beats Wonderboy or Chiesa or even Amaya, you really have to start thinking about giving him that title fight then, because he's got good names on his record. That is the one problem with him fighting Bilal Muhammad even in the first place. This is the number 3 ranked guy fighting the number 13 ranked guy. So it's kind of like you can't really make a guy go up for that, can you?
Yeah, it's a weird welterweight world, man. It is. And that's what we're talking about most of the time, isn't it? Isn't it crazy that we most of the time we talk about the welterweight division because of the characters in that division? It's exciting, that division. I don't think it's the best division, but it's an exciting division, and I like the division. And Colby, man, this guy.
Welterweight is just where everything seems to mix. Like you can absolutely wrestle someone, you can still got that knockout power, they're still fast. So you kind of, it is pretty much, in my opinion, kind of on that sweet spot. Not the most competitive decision, but yeah, it does hit that sweet spot. Sorry to interrupt you, JHK.
No, it's all good. All good. Let's hear this clip of Colby.
Oh yeah, let's do that, and then we can talk about. Or should we just say, who should Wonder Boy? Sorry, Leon should fight next. Who do you think? Alan thinks Wonder Boy, and then he's saying Bilal against Michael Chiesa this summer. Bilal was. I liked he tweeted like, "How about me and Leon coaches on Ultimate Fighter now that Jorge and Usman are tied up?"
yeah. That's not happening.
That's not happening. But I mean, who do you think will be the coaches now on Tough?
I don't even think there's gonna be a Tough.
No.
I don't think it's gonna even happen. I don't believe it.
No.
Elaborate. What's happened? Why will that be scratched?
Anywhere out there in the comments who is desperate for another season of Tough?
Yeah,
I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
If you're watching and you want another season of Tough, just tell us that we're idiots.
We've got UFC, we've got PFL, we've got Bellator, we've got One Championship, we've got Dana White's Contender Series, we've got LFA, we've got how many shows are the UFC doing this year? 46? Is that their planned number? I mean, do we need Tough on top of it all?
Yeah.
You
It's exhausting already, and to be honest with you, if there is a Tough, I won't watch. I probably won't even watch it. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to do Tough and Dana White's Contender Series and Dana White's Contender Series Asia. Like, what's the difference between Tough and Contender Series? Like, what are the advantages? I don't get it.
Like if there is a Tough, I'll just probably watch whatever they put clips up on Twitter. That's what I'll be watching. That's it. Like I will never go in there and watch a whole episode. It just doesn't interest me as much. You know what I mean? Like if they did another redemption one where they had like guys that were interesting that were in the UFC before, and then exciting styles like brawlers. Let's say you put a house full of brawlers. Like maybe I'll watch it. You know what I mean? Like because you'll get some interesting fights and some interesting like banter. But other than that, man, I don't want to see it. Like you said, Contender Series is good enough. Why would you want to stick people in the house with COVID and everything going on? And imagine like during the filming, everybody got COVID.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a disaster, right? Like why would you even want to do that?
The only way I'd want to see Tough is if they flew all the fighters out to Thailand and they made John Nutt executive producer. That's the only way I want to see the Ultimate Fighter. You know what I mean? I want to see the Ultimate Fighter Fight Circus edition. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, it seems like the people in the comments don't have too much love for Tough either. Eddie says, who even watches the full episode? Yeah. Tough.
I even stopped watching the fights. I'm not gonna lie to you. I even stopped watching the fights too. Like I don't, they just had heavyweights and stuff. I didn't watch any of those.
Roberto makes a good point. It gives fighters their time, and it gives you an introduction.
Yeah, but no one's watching
fighters. Yeah, but I guess there's some fighters in the UFC now that have a fan base because they were on Tough, right? They're ready-made fan base.
Tough was good.
That's when Tough was good. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the difference. That's when Tough was good.
I don't know non-MMA fans who watch Tough. I don't know casual MMA fans who watch Tough, and we've got quite hardcore MMA fans in the comments. I'm with 2 on this chat, and no one seems that into Tough.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's weird, man. People are agreeing with us today. We're all on the same page. It's strange.
Yeah.
I'm more
not
into
getting abused in the comments.
I'm more into the Apprentice One Championship edition, and I'm more into this Friday for the Winter Soldier and the Falcon, because GSP is going to be one of the main bad guys reprising his role from Captain America 2. I'm more excited about that than I am the Ultimate Fighter.
Yes, The Apprentice starts March 18th, I think.
Oh, really?
Big
Where can we watch it? Are we gonna get like a link in a press release so we could watch it?
Let me find out, but I'd love to do a watch party.
Yeah, we gotta. You bombed. I got it. It's like that's a meme, right? That's got to be a meme or a GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We need to use it all the time. I'm gonna have to make one or have someone make one.
Yeah. Jose is saying tough is good when there's drama between the coaches, but Contender Series is way easier to consume. Yeah,
Jose.
most people are agreeing with us, I think.
Truth.
Yeah. A lot of comments about tough, but no one seems to like it. So why don't we move on? I mean, we haven't heard of anything if Tough's going to happen. We'll get there. If they do announce it, we'll talk about it, I'm sure. Alan thinks Jones and Lewis would interest him the most if they do Tough.
Jones and Lewis? Jones is not that interesting. We've seen him on Tough. You know,
anyway.
he does things that are interesting, but it's like he's not a really good at banter. You know, you need guys that are good at banter, guys that could bring in other coaches that have beef with other coaches. You know how it works.
John Jones would have maybe been good back in the day, because it's like to be cocky and arrogant and the jock is kind of cool when you're like 22, 23. When you're 34, it's just a bit weird, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is weird.
John Jones, like probably the best fighter ever, but like he doesn't have that excitement factor. He used like even when he came back for the second Gus fight, I was like, can't wait to see John Jones again. And now it's like he's gonna fight a heavyweight. I'm like, I saw that video of you calling out Cain Velasquez in 2013. It took you 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah. John Jones is a psychopath. That'd be great, says Arthur. And Alan says, if he goes at Lewis for being fat, I don't know. I wish DC and Jones did Tough.
Yeah, that's like elementary school disses.
Yeah. Dana White's Contender Series way better than Tough. Yeah, I think, guys, I would have watched it if it was Jorge Masvidal and Kamaru Usman, because you know that they would have trash talked and they would have hyped up that fight. But it truly depends on the fight for me. Really depends on who the two fighters are. So the two coaches. I'm not against it. I'm open to it. But as Dana White says, we'll see how it plays out. And anyway, how about this? Colby Covington. Let's bring it up now. Add it to the stream. There we go. This is the clip you wanted to talk about, John?
Yes, sir. Let's hear what he has to say. Let's get a reminder.
I hope it's not going to be PC, is it?
I was busy, balls deep in Pauliana Viana. So to get me off the couch in 3 weeks' notice to fight some Leon Scott guy, it was going to be a price tag,
Oh.
There wasn't much talks, I was busy, balls deep in Pauliana Viana. So to get
was that the whole clip?
Yeah, that's the whole clip, right? Okay. So I guess they asked him if, why he didn't step in to face Leon Edwards last weekend, and he just, he answered it by saying that he was balls deep, inferring that he was balls deep in a UFC fighter, a female UFC fighter, right? And we've seen some things going around on social media of him taking pictures with Pauliana Viana, and then she responded, I believe, on social media saying that her and Colby Covington are friends. Man, balls deep. That's man.
Pretty
people are look right there, and it's very disrespectful, especially if they're dating. If let's say they are dating and it's like kind of a secret thing, and he goes out in public in an interview and says he's balls deep, that's not a respectful thing to say about your girl. And if they're not dating and they're just friends, that's definitely not a respectful thing to say about your girl and basically your coworker, somebody that's in the company with you. I Colby Covington, I'm kind of like an apologist for Colby Covington, because some of the stuff it says is borderline, but this one, I think it's added up now. Like, I think he's getting too brave. Like this is like directed at like this innocent female. Like, she's innocent in this case, right?
He said this to a woman who has a boyfriend, or she said she has a boyfriend. They did sleep together. He's broken her privacy. And the thing is, this is news, and this is someone who has parents, maybe has children, maybe has grandchildren, has neighbors, you know, like I mean, and you don't like out someone or publicly disrespect them like this. And you know, if you look at what happened to Kobe ATT, where he pissed off so many people, he was eventually asked to leave. I mean, obviously he's training in a new gym with Pollyanna, and like, you know, if I was the owner of that gym and Pollyanna was like, I'm not really comfortable with this guy being in the gym anymore, like, he's gonna have to go and look for another gym. And like, you know, there is a point where this is not gonna be great for his career, is it? Like, let's be fair.
Yeah, it is not. It's not good for his career. It's not good for his image at all, man. Like,
And it's just not good for women, and it's just not how we should treat women out there. International.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know why he would say something like he could say whatever he wants to Usman and Leon, and you know what I mean, because it's like he's gonna fight those guys. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that aspect of it, but this girl, man, this woman, she came out and look at her. She's like, she's friendly with him. You know what I mean? Like, what do you, like, what do you do? Like, when you see her again after saying this, what do you say to her? Like, oh, it's just an act. Like, this is my character that I'm playing. I think Colby Covington should stop fighting and he should just go to WWE. Like, I think that's what he should do, man. Eventually, this is gonna get too much, and I don't know if the UFC should step in, because they didn't step in when, let's say, what's his name? Casey Kenny said, what is it, like, she's a 4 a.m. or a 5 a.m. or about Megan Anderson, right? So would you say that this is worse than what Casey Kenny said? Would you say that?
I don't know. We don't know the details is my thing here. Maybe it's an inside joke between them. Maybe they are friends. Who knows what's going on?
Balls deep is an inside joke. That's crazy. That's a crazy inside joke, right? Don't you think? That's a crazy inside joke.
We have to. Has she said anything? Has she? Yeah. I mean, it sounds super offensive and all that.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you guys, but I just want to know. I have no clue what's going on here. It's
the thing is, what Casey is more of a comment on the looks of a fighter, really. While what he's literally said is like he's balls deep having sexual intercourse with her, and there's a slight difference between the two, you know, between commenting on someone's look and saying they're a 4 a.m. or something, and like being that graphic. Like, I do think there is a line somewhere. It's just all silly, you know. Pollyanna, she's Brazilian, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, here we go. Get Big Nog, get Little Nog, get Shogun, get every Brazilian out there. Do the Ultimate Fighter, every Brazilian ever versus Colby. Film it in the favelas in Rio de Janeiro, and maybe Colby will learn to shut up his mouth for a day or two.
Colby doesn't have the balls as Chael Sonnen. You know, he doesn't have that type of manhood. You know what I mean? Like, he would never go to Brazil and film a tough season. It would never happen. Because I think people would legit try to find him and kill him. Like, I kind of believe that. You know, I believe that these Brazilians are not happy, a lot of them.
Well, did you see him in Verdum when Verdum came and asked
yeah.
And he was moving quick, you know. Moving quick. That's all I'm saying. No.
Yeah, Verdum is not a guy you want mad at you.
Arthur makes a good point here. Yeah, should he have fought Leon anyway? That's what we should really talk about. I mean, Leon said the UFC asked Colby. Colby said no.
Yes, he should have fought Leon. So he's making excuses.
Yeah,
Colby's making excuses, right?
And he's making excuses with some pretty crass.
Yeah,
shit,
that's right, Nick. Crass.
As all I was trying to say, Arthur, was I don't know the details. I don't know what their relationship is, what the situation is. I don't know why he said that or what. I just want to find out. That's what I'm trying to get at. It seems strange to me that he would say something like that on a show on Submission Radio, because
they have a big audience. You know what I mean? That's why he goes on that show. You know, don't you notice that Colby, he only goes on shows with like big audiences already built in. He stopped doing media with other outlets. He only goes on Submission Radio, because Submission Radio, they're, you know, if you look at their viewership, it's massive. They do a great job, and Colby brings in good numbers, and he goes on there and he keeps one-upping himself with how crass he can become. And you know, sometimes it's funny and he's towing the line, but this time I don't know. I think he crossed the line, man. I believe he crossed the ine, because
thing, right? It's like if you look at Floyd Mayweather, for example, he always tried to have an equal number of people who watches his fights because they hate him and an equal number because they like him. So that's it. With Floyd Mayweather, there's a conversation. People either hate him or they like him. But with Colby there's a small amount of society who absolutely love what he's doing. But he's just running on like 80 to 90% hate right now. And, you know, it's just a bit, there's the point where it gets sad, you know, and, you know, these guys, they are young guys, you know, but, you know, they're not 19, 20, you know, Sean O'Malley's what, 21 years old, 20 years old, you know, he's still I mean, Colby must be what, 30 now? You know, like, there is a point, right, where it doesn't look so good. There's certain things you get away with earlier on in your career that you can't get on as you mature, specifically as a man.
Henry Ford is back in the chat. I always love this guy when he comes through. What's going on, Henry Ford? Is there a video of that, Henry Ford? I didn't see no video of Pollyanna grabbing his crotch while saying that she has a boyfriend. Is that what happened?
I think he means that if they did have a relationship and then she said she has a boyfriend. But I've heard some people saying that the screen grab of her saying I have a boyfriend is actually fake. So,
oh really?
I don't know what's all I'm saying is, yeah, I'm trying to find out the details of this situation.
Yeah,
as a journalist should probably do. So I'm just trying to find out who said what, who did what's going on. But I don't really know what is going on. Eileen Rivera says everyone knows how he behaves, so she has a little guilt. He's using the fact that she is Brazilian. I don't know. Everyone's kind of. There's a few comments. Look at the picture they took. Oh, okay. I don't know, guys.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's like is she part of the plot? Is she part of the plot? Are they playing us? Is that what's going on right now? Is she involved in some scheme?
I was like, maybe they are together and they're just busting balls. I don't know. You can't count out all the possibilities with Colby. Who knows?
Is Pollyanna going on Brazilian like TV and saying crazy things about Colby, but actually secretly dating him at the same time? Is she turning heel too? Is that what's happening right now? Are we getting fooled by these two? I don't know.
I really want to find out what the situation is, but yeah, I mean, I guess there's a possibility. That's why I said maybe they're both having fun with it and they're just joking with the media to like wind us all up and get us in a state that we are in now, where we're in a tizzy, as we might say in the UK, Chris.
Yeah.
If it is a tizzy, if we're in a tizzy and we're falling for this act, touche to both of these individuals, right? They got the internet and the MMA people talking about both of them, and you know, a lot of the guys are gonna be like they're gonna support Pollyanna Viana, right? It's just logical, right? That you're gonna defend her because he said some crass stuff, you know, on that show. So I don't know, man. It's every time Colby comes out, he always says something, and it's always a clip, and I think that he knows it. He knows what he's doing, and he does a great job at it. Is it right? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's, you know, vulgar and offensive, and sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's borderline racist. That's what a lot of people think, right? If you talk to people.
He's been very close to the line. I mean, look, we all know women in our lives, mothers, daughters, sisters, friends, teachers, colleagues, etc. And, you know, you won't want anyone to speak to those people like that publicly on a huge platform like Submission Radio. So, that you know.
Exactly. You don't want that. Yeah, you're right, Chris. You don't want that, especially if that's like your sister. If that's your sister and dude says some stuff like that, like I have a sister, a younger sister, and if dude said some stuff like that, you got problems. Doesn't matter what my sister says.
He's from America, so like obviously saying that about a woman maybe like that can be really disrespectful in American culture to say that to a woman. And you have to think like Brazil is the super conservative in large parts of the country, and like saying stuff like that, you know, like you can be in a country like that, you can be putting someone's life in danger, or even just removing the chances of future employment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's a weird topic. I wonder. I'm just waiting to see how it plays out. You know what I mean? Because today was the first day we saw it, so we'll see what Polyana how she responds to it, and what can be the consequences of it, if there are any consequences. We just talk about it, so we don't matter in this situation.
If you ever want to settle it and learn how to respect women, you can get your ass out to Kuala Lumpur. My guy Leon Jennings will take you out at any time. He's anywhere.
He'll take you across the border to Cambodia and show you.
Leave Leon out of this. He's not even on the show.
I know.
He'll be back this week though.
But he feels like he's on the show.
Yeah,
he feels like
his
it.
Spirit is always with us.
Exactly,
Yeah.
His aura. He's like Rick
right.
James.
What about? Oh, we've done all our topics then. So
Yeah,
I guess
let's go to the questions. Let's say we got about 20 minutes, right? Right now
Okay.
we're at 670 minutes, so let's see what people
All
got.
right.
Let's see what you guys got.
I'm just gonna kind of go through them latest ones first. So if you did ask any questions earlier, please maybe put them back, retype them out to help me. Otherwise, I'm gonna scroll through them. But here is Alan saying, if Kevin Holland starches Brunson, does he deserve a top 5 contender at 185? I would like the Hermansson fight that never happened last December. Chris, you go.
Kevin Holland, he probably does. I can't remember. I think he's ranked like 8, 9, 10 around there. I think it'd be good. Hermansson would be a fantastic fight for him. I mean, if he wants to rate around a little bit more, you could see what the result of the Till Vettori fight is. Maybe try and catch the loser off of that. They're both pretty big names as well, and both capable of headlining fight nights because they've got fairly large nations behind them. But Kevin Holland is real. I'm not sure if he's gonna start Brunson, but definitely, man. Probably will get a top 5 contender where he is ranked, and he's pretty popular. His name's out there. Been on Joe Rogan recently, so yeah, definitely he can probably pull a top 5 competitor, but more around the number 5 than the number 1, 2, or 3.
Holland, he's ranked right now. Where is he ranked? He's ranked number 10, right? And he's fighting Brunson. Brunson's ranked number 7. Does that justify a top 5 fighter? I don't think so, right? It's a big test, right? It's a big test for Kevin Holland because Brunson's going to come in with some hardcore wrestling, right? We're going to see if he can defend those off and get a finish or even win the fight. Because, a lot of people are pointing to Holland that he gasses out, towards like the 3rd round or so. So, and Brunson, you don't really see him gas out too much. And he's a heavy grappler. He could grapple and he could strike at the same time. So if he gets past him, I don't think he's going to get a top 5. And Hermansson's not top 5. Hermansson's ranked number 6. If you look at the top 5, there's Marvin Vettori, Till, Cannonier, Costa, and Whitaker. I don't see Holland fighting any of those guys, even if he beats Brunson.
I think he could catch the Till Vettori loser. I think that's definitely a possibility because that's
that's a different situation. Like if one of them has lost and then they have to fight somebody behind them, yes, I can see that happening. But if Uriah Hall beats Chris Weidman and Holland beats Brunson, I like to see them fight each other. Hall and Holland. That sounds like a group, like a 1980s R&B group.
I just had to go back to this Colby thing briefly, sorry, because I saw this on the internet. I thought that was quite funny.
What is that? Is that Colby?
Do you remember when Polyana beat up that mugger in Brazil?
Yeah.
So someone photoshopped his face from the
That's good.
That is very
The
good.
internet never loses, man. That's what Like
the
internet never loses. So yeah,
Colby better watch out if he's pissed her off. Okay, let's go back to the other comments here. Holland versus Hall, I like, says Eddie LeBlasian. Alan thinks maybe Holland Brunson winner versus Vettori Till winner on co-main, or Izzy versus Whitaker versus Costa winner. I think
Vettori versus winner is probably getting a title shot.
Who?
Vettori versus Till winner is probably a title shot. None of them are going to be
Is
Yeah.
there explosions going on in your flat? Someone, or is it mine?
Not me. I hear it.
Okay.
Sorry,
Not me though.
They're putting
Oh,
the foot into another skyscraper down the road.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thought the end was near. Thought
Yeah.
the world was blowing up. Okay.
Chris is right though. The Vettori versus Till fight, that's the #1 contender fight. Even like Israel Adesanya's team is saying that, right? Inadvertently, they're saying like they like the Till matchup, and then Vettori has fought Israel, and he's coming in hard against Israel. They could sell that fight if Vettori beats Till, and vice versa. So that's a crazy thing to say. You know why? It's because you got Whitaker and Costa fighting. Where does that put them? Whoever wins that fight, it just puts them like in the line behind maybe two more fighters. You know what I mean? It's weird. Like I don't know the logic.
It's like the Little League World Series because they've got Costa and Whitaker are like the losers bracket. So you got the #1 contenders on the winners bracket and the #1 contenders on the losers bracket. So it's kind of going down a little bit like that, isn't it? But yeah, I guess you're gonna have probably Vettori Till fight for the bout if whoever wins, and then you've got Whitaker Costa pretty much to come in straight after, and you can have both of them ready as well in case because lately they've been having a third fight to make weight for most of the title fights anyway. So why not?
Yeah, and also, if you're gonna make a case for Holland, let's say Holland does beat Brunson, you could put Holland if they want to fast track him against Cannonier, because Cannonier kind of sitting there alone at #3, and he's coming off a loss against Whitaker. Holland, I could see them pushing, for that, or even Hall. Hall could fight Cannonier. Did they fight already? I don't know.
I just always think like if Till loses, they might give him Cannonier next. Because Cannonier, tough. It's not a hard fight for Till, but just Till can be chinny, Yeah. So, yeah.
And that's like 5 in a row that he's lost, but he's still ranked in the top 5.
He only fights the best, man. He only fights the best. Yeah.
The UFC rankings are so good.
It makes sense. I always think they're not really rankings. It's just a guide.
Yeah, it's just a guide and just like who has the best names.
Pretty much, I just look at it like there's the top 5, then there's the middle 5, and then there's the bottom 5. 11 to 15 doesn't make a difference. 5 to 1 doesn't make a difference. So
yeah.
But I don't think actually, you guys are both on rankings panel, but no organization seems to have really, really good reflective rankings.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully Bellator changes it.
Did you see the one rankings for atomweight?
No, they have them.
Oh yeah, they loads of people who are in the Grand Prix straight into the rankings, didn't they?
They took out Lynn, I think, completely. They bumped Stamp above May, despite Stamp coming off like 3 losses. Or not in MMA, of course, but and then I can find it. Someone bring it up. But
the Ukrainian girl, it's Angela Lee champion, Denise 1, Mengbo 2, Alona Rasana 3, Stamp 4, and Mei Yamaguchi 5. Yeah, so they moved May down and Stamp up, despite Stamp coming off a loss. Yeah.
So weird. As Roberto Lopez says, rankings don't matter. Quoting Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz doesn't matter anymore, so he's quoting himself.
Who should Edmund Shalbazian fight next when he returns? Who should he fight from the top 15?
Yeah, he's 12 right now, right? Coming off the loss to Brunson. He's gonna end up fighting somebody that loses in the upcoming matches, right? Let's say let's say Weidman, Hall, whoever loses in that fight, he could fight them, or the loser of, I guess you can't have him fight the loser of Brunson Holland unless Holland loses. Man, he's in a tight spot, man. Maybe if Tavares, or did he beat Tavares? I don't know. He's kind of in a weird little space right there. Oh, maybe they put him against Gastelum. I don't know. Gastelum's still floating out there.
I think that's.
I just seen something, guys.
Go for Sean.
Paulo Costa's out of the Whitaker fight. Have you seen that?
What? No
yeah, he's
way.
ill. He says he's ill. I'll bring it up on
Is he
screen.
ill? Does he have a
Oh,
bit too much wine trying to get to sleep?
He had a
I
big
see.
night. On the,
Yeah,
it's
you know,
postponed. It's postponed.
yeah. I'll bring up the story. Let's talk about that. Kind of
All right.
important. MMA fighting. I don't know if they are reporting this, breaking it. UFC. Okay, let me bring it on screen. Sorry. Ouch. I hate this thing. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Paulo Costa is ill, they say.
Severe
Unable
flu.
to fight Robert Whittaker April 17th. UFC needs a new headliner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an MMA fighting scoop here. I think Costa is dealing with a severe flu and can't fully prepare for the pivotal fight. It's still unclear if the promotion will move the match up to a new date, find a new opponent for Whittaker. One option on the table is rescheduling the match for UFC cards on May the 1st or May the 8th. Okay, it was AEG Fight who first reported the bout was in jeopardy on Monday night. Yeah, details scarce. All it says is a severe flu. Doesn't say if it is COVID related, guys, but that's a bummer. I was looking forward to that fight.
Why don't they move one of the title fights from
Yeah.
that next week and just move it up 1 week and put it as the headliner of that fight night in Las Vegas? Why don't they do that? Or like this, what is it? Alan Bones Jones is saying maybe push Weidman versus Uriah Hall to 1 week and have them headline the show. Because if Whittaker takes a late, like, I don't even know if it's that late notice, but if he takes a short notice fight against a new opponent, who can he fight? It's like the only person that makes sense was only two people, which was Costa or the title fight, right? So who can he fight? Would he take the risk of fighting somebody way lower in the rankings? Has he fought Gastelum? No, he hasn't, right?
No.
He hasn't fought Gastelum could step in. Gastelum's coming off a win. He's number 8.
And that
He's
fight
fought for
fell through, didn't it? That was going to be for the belt in
That's
Australia.
right. That's right. Maybe
I
Gastelum
like
could
that.
step in. Yeah, that's a good
idea.
replacement. And it's going to be 5 rounds. Just the belt won't be on the line.
Mm-hmm.
We can make a fake belt for that.
But if you're Gastelum, do you want to risk? He's building himself up again slowly now.
Well, that's the best way to put him in title contention is to beat the number 1 contender because Whittaker's the number 1.
I feel like Gastelum probably needs a couple other wins first.
He does,
to get
but
confidence back and momentum.
Yeah, you're right. But man, this is an opportunity that you have to take, though, right?
Yeah, he got solid against. What was his last fight? Was it Heinisch?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it was Heinisch.
A solid decision, I think. Like it was a good.
Yeah. So
I mean, still super young. I'd go Kevin Gastelum.
yeah, and Kelvin Gastelum's in California, so it's not like he's in another country or something like that. They could just have him hop right in. Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. We made your job easy, Sean Shelp.
Yeah.
Holland v. Whittaker, says Alan. If Holland beats Brunson, spectacular. Kevin Holland would be down for that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course. It's just Whittaker, like Whittaker, he's a little bit more selective on who he's trying to fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like what?
There's a lot of tape work. I think he really analyzes, and I think he gears his camp to who he's fighting. Few other fighters who do that a little bit out there. Max Holloway, some of them, they watch a lot of tape, and so the thing is, if that's your training style and your fighting style, it's really, really hard to change opponents last minute.
Exactly. So Whittaker, it'd be
What
hard
is
for
going
me.
on over there?
Where?
I can't understand how you can't hear it. They literally
Yeah.
built a skyscraper right next to me, and they're putting in the footings right now. It's literally between me and you.
I can hear it on your screen and then like behind me here as well.
Yeah.
In real life. So that's weird.
People
Anyway.
that are watching right now in the comments, do you think Holland will be a champion? Do you think Holland would be the champ? Do you think he'll be able to dethrone whoever's the champ eventually when he makes it up to the title fight? Because a lot of people believe in Holland. I mean, they're convinced.
Let me get some comments.
I don't know, man. Like, I like Kevin Holland, but like, isn't he just like a little bit on a hot streak? We haven't really seen anything to say is that super special fighter who can go and win a belt.
Yeah, that's why the Brunson fight is such a big test.
Yeah.
Do you guys see that photography dude who exposed Hans Molenkamp? Says Jimmy. Yeah, I saw it briefly. Yeah, I didn't read it, but what was the gist of it?
It was an interview. It was an interview, like a YouTube interview, like a video interview. I watched the whole thing. He was explaining like his experiences working for Hans Molenkamp, and they weren't nice. They weren't nice things, you know. I believe the dude went homeless because he got fired or he quit. One of those things happened. But it was a terrible story, man. I feel bad for that guy because it seems like he dropped everything to work with Hans and Monster, and then just got used and abused. I recommend people go watch that. And I feel like there's other videos, like even Bisping came out, right? Did you see that interview, or did you see that on his podcast? He said that he was driving and he got a phone call from Hans, and Hans said, we're friends, right, Mike? And Mike's like, no, we're business associates. You know, Michael Bisping, he's like one of the realest guys out there. Like, I love Michael Bisping. He'll tell the truth no matter what. And he said, no, we're business associates. We're cool. We're business associates. And then after that, his sponsorship with Monster was gone. Isn't that a weird story, right? Because he
why didn't you ask him,
friends?
Are we friends?
That's the thing. It's like, what was that about? You know, maybe he was trying to get him to do something. I don't know.
Maybe he just wants to know who's like on his side, who's going to back him up.
I saw something about that he changed his phone number and like.
I know one of your favorite guys out there came out and had a lot of good stuff to say about Hans Molenkamp, and that was Showtime's own Brendan Schaub.
Oh, did he say a lot? Isn't he sponsored by Monster?
He was like, I guess how it can be annoying, but like when someone's offering you money and all you have to do is be in a picture in them and like their posts, like.
No, but then there's like stories of him, like when there's like he'll go into their camps like on fight week and try to spar them or have the guys hold pads for them or like they're filming everything. So he's like, in that interview he says he's like, he'll like throw water in himself and then like hit pads and it looked like he's been doing it for 2 hours.
Oh shit!
Like stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like if you watch the interview, he explains it. But we should never listen to Brendan Schaub. Come on, like Brendan Schaub is like he's like a unicorn of MMA. He just
what Brendan Schaub was saying was something like along the lines of like, do you have to? Is Hans Molenkamp making you jump through all these hoops for you to get $50,000 or something like that? Like, you know.
Yeah, but it's about respect. You know, a lot of these people are thinking respect and dignity and things like that. So, what can you do, man?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just showing you Brendan will do anything for money, right? That's what it's saying. That's what he's saying, right?
Yeah. Well, I've seen a bit of his comedy special, so I know he'll do anything.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things you'll ever watch.
Yeah.
It's up there with Brian Campbell.
Yeah, I never
on that note, let's leave it there, right? We're coming up on an hour and a half, and I'm so hungry. I want to eat. I haven't had breakfast, so it's nearly 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. Boom. All right. Yeah, let's get some plugs in here. You guys, what you got going on? What do you want to promote? JHK, you always got a bunch of things happening. Where can people find it?
I can find it here. That's where you can find it on this channel, on the website. You can find it. You know, we got some stuff.
Don't
we got
watch
some
his
brewing
stuff on, My MMA News. Don't watch that. Just watch the stuff on SCMP.
but that doesn't change anything. You know how it works, man. What is it? Yeah, we got some stuff brewing right for the next big pay-per-view, 260. So maybe look out for that in the next week or so. And yeah, that's about it. We got interviews are gonna keep coming no matter what. Make sure everybody go check out Ryzen 27 this weekend. It's happening. I got a bunch of interviews for that I did last week. Go check those out. There's some good fights on there. Some Japanese MMA. We got to support that somewhat.
What day is that?
I believe on Saturday.
Saturday morning or night?
No, it's like how Japan does. It's like afternoon.
2 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 p.m. with a 2-hour
yeah.
interval at some point. So like 2 till 6, 7
Yeah.
till
Okay.
10. Yeah.
Why, Nick?
Better
You got a
be-
problem?
Yeah, it's gonna have to work a bit more now.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Yeah.
you saw. Okay, I see what you're saying. But yeah, it's I believe that's this weekend, and
We got one on Friday, Rising Saturday, UFC Sunday.
oh yeah, you got one. Is this one pre-taped?
Yeah.
Fists of
Okay.
Fury number 3.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, other plugs, right? The Fight Companion for One Championship. You guys doing it this Friday, right?
Yep. Thursday
Yes,
morning,
sir.
guys. Don't forget to check out one of the best shows out there. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, this week I have 2 guests coming in. I got Matt Wells. And you know what? You know what's a trip? Matt Wells. He covers the sport. He works for the Body Lock. His brother was a Major League Baseball player. I didn't even know that, but I'm gonna have to talk to him about it. His brother was like a really good Vernon Wells, if you know anything about baseball. I believe he played for the Toronto Blue Jays. But yeah, he was like really good, and that's his brother or his cousin or something. And then I got Tommy T back on the show. Tom Taylor. He's gonna be back and chopping it up with us. And yeah, check it out on Thursday morning, Wednesday night in the US of A. Other than that, you know what I mean? Just look out for interviews. Just look out for everybody's content and follow us on social media.
Yeah, Chrissy B_MMA. I'm going for some really, really top-notch ramen. So check out for a picture later and tell me how that ramen's looking.
I was just about to ask you, Chris, if you wanted a set lunch somewhere,
No,
but you're
straight-
busy. I see you're busy. I'm not good enough for you. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll see how all this stuff plays out. I'm sure there'll be plenty of news by the time we are here tomorrow. So Chris is holding up a piece really long, so I was going to say something, but I'll just finish. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be back. Maybe another podcast tomorrow. Otherwise, John shows Thursday. Chris and I will do a preview of UFC on Thursday as well. We'll do a One Championship Fight Companion on Friday. It never stops. Rising Saturday, UFC Sunday. So yeah, just keep it locked on SCMP MMA, and thanks for watching. See you next time.